What's going on, everybody out there? Just give me 1 second. I'm going to gather my thoughts, get my notes together, wait for the live chat to go ahead and get some people piled in there. If you are present, go ahead and let me know. Give me the formal hello if you'd like to get involved in the live chat. Otherwise, being an innocent bystander isn't so bad. All right, so for those that are here live via the Patreon exclusive to the live stream, thank you for tuning in. For those of you watching this on delayed release next day on the YouTube channel, thank you for tuning in as well. The date of this recording is Sunday, November 11th, 2018. So thank you all for tuning in. If you're watching this on YouTube, you're seeing this on Monday, November 12th, 2018. So thank you for tuning in. As you guys are viewing this at the time of this recording, it is approaching Black Friday, so I do have some sales, potential sales that we're going to be seeing this year for Black Friday. Hopefully, there are some good ones that you might want to consider if you're looking at a potential upgrade. Also, within this particular podcast, I'm going to cover some information from Verizon, T-Mobile, Sprint. Well, I guess it's T-Mobile and Sprint as a merger. And then, of course, I'll cover all of the up-and-coming Black Friday deals for those of you interested in looking at a potential upgrade or something along those lines. So, again, thank you for watching, taking the time to watch my videos. Greatly appreciated, whether through Patreon or on the YouTube channel. Thank you so much. So I'll go ahead and get things started first with Verizon. So Verizon is set to launch a new messaging service, and this is starting February of 2019. The new messaging service that is starting shortly is, I guess, going to pretty much implicate and change their standard messaging protocol. I'm not too savvy with what Verizon is doing with their SMS, but I'm sure it's nothing special. It's probably been the same technology for several years. But this is interesting, and I think it's interesting because financially this is going to be helping Verizon a lot. It's going to help them make some extra money on their end of things. So it helps them in terms of profitability. And I think it also helps them in terms of connectivity with respect to person-to-person or app-to-person connections. In terms of the money on their end, they're going to be making a quarter of a penny on every transaction, every connection made from person to another person, as well as person to an application. Now, if you think about just a quarter of a penny per connection, that may not seem like much, but to a big company which has, you know, over 140 million subscribers with all these different lines, all these different hotspots, all these different smartphones, and all these different connected devices, that is going to add up very quickly, and it is going to obviously put some extra money in the pockets of Verizon. So I'm sure a lot of people are very happy and stoked about this from the business side and Verizon, corporate side, management side. The actual information that I received this from, the report I got this from, I believe the company is called Twilio. I don't know much about the company, but they seem to know quite a bit about it. Now, the one question I have as it pertains to the standard messaging protocol is that I think, you know, what this is well, what I want to know, actually, I should say, is in terms of RCS, is there going to be an RCS implication with this? I don't know if anything in particular does revolve around RCS, if it's going to be changing the standard protocol for messaging. That is kind of like the wave of the future. It's something that Verizon hasn't really talked about in a while, but it could be something that they implicate. So I'm curious as to see if it does involve RCS. There's a lot that we don't know about this particular service. I will be following it very closely, but that's pretty much all I have there. And obviously, as a company, Verizon is very hush in what they do, kind of like, they're more like ninjas than, say, than you know, like compare them to T-Mobile, which does everything very vocally, and they like to advertise everything, and they like to brag and boast. Verizon is quite cryptic, and they don't really always explain everything, and they don't tell everything as it's kind of happening. So a much different business protocol, business approach between Verizon and T-Mobile and other companies, but I'll be following it. I'll let you guys know with a follow-up and an update to see what exactly this is about. We're expecting it shortly. It is November 2018, and this is slated for February 2019. So as reports come out, as I get more information, I'll be sure to report it back here to you guys here on the channel. I'm going to go ahead and transition over to some T-Mobile news now. This T-Mobile news, there's actually a couple things I want to include. I'll start with the first announcement, which is T-Mobile is set to be launching an international plan that is completely new, a more premium plan, I should say. I think another way to state that is it's going to be pretty expensive, but it does kind of save some money if it fits the right person. So it is available only on the one plan lineup. So potentially, I think what this is really, technically, it is an international add-on. So for the travelers out there, this might be something that you want to take a look at. It is unlimited roaming LTE internationally. It also gets you 5 gigs of hotspot LTE, unlimited call and text, wherever you travel, wherever you roam. So it does kind of take, the whole tethered idea of you, being stuck domestically and not having, a lot of data, not having a lot of LTE, having slow connections, limited functionality in your plan. Take your phone with you, add this add-on for $50, and it gives you quite a bit of value and usage. So this $50 per month add-on would be essentially added on to your $70 baseline cost for your line. So the T-Mobile One plans, which start at about $70, this would be a $50 add-on that puts you at about $120. So it's not going to be cheap. It is definitely something that is a premium add-on, not for everybody for sure. But it does beat T-Mobile's single-day passes. So for those of you that travel, for a couple days at a time, 2-3 days, maybe be out of the country on some kind of vacation, maybe up to a week or so, something like that, you're probably paying that $5 per day, and it's getting you like a half a gig of LTE data, which is not really much, for that $5 per day. This would be a really, really good deal if you're going to be somewhere for several weeks. If you think about it, a single day pass being $5 and giving you half a gig of data, this gets you unlimited LTE, or whatever is available for speeds, and then gets you 5 gigs of hotspot LTE, unlimited call and text. So I think it's a really good deal for travelers, as I said before. I think it's nice as an add-on as needed. So if you're going to be gone for a couple of weeks, a long extended vacation or something like that, a honeymoon period would probably be useful for this. It might be something to take advantage of. And when I did the math, if you think about the cost of that $50 per month, if you're gone for a month, it definitely is worth its value. It's probably still worth its value at a couple weeks or even just 10 days, because the $5 per day at 10 days would be $50, but you're only getting a half a gig of data to use for LTE. So this would be worth it if you're staying anywhere internationally past about 9 or 10 days. And if you're obviously, a data hog or you need more data, then this is probably right up your alley. So pretty good deal that you might want to consider checking out if you decide you want to travel and you are with T-Mobile or thinking about traveling. Maybe you could incorporate the usage of the T-Mobile network here. So the second thing from T-Mobile, as I transition to the next announcement, there actually is a hardware filing that I came across. This is for a hardware device from T-Mobile, what is basically looks like a mini streaming box, and it made its way to the FCC filings. What we do know so far is that it is a set-top box, but that's pretty much all we know. We know that this is probably going to be associated with T-Mobile's TV plan or TV service that they plan on launching very soon. So, this hardware, the set-top box, which I guess is just for now, I don't know if this is just a placeholder, it's being called the T-Mobile Mini, manufactured by a company, I think it's pronounced Kaon Media, which this is kind of important because Kaon Media is the same company that actually makes the hardware, the set-top boxes for Layer 3 TV, which was recently purchased and acquired by T-Mobile, just about a year and a half ago or so. So in terms of the hardware, the set-top box, it does have Ethernet ports. It has an HDMI cable in and out. It has USB ports as well, which means it can receive, firmware and software updates, not just, over the air, as they say, connected, but it can be done while using USB. It also has Wi-Fi connectivity, and it has Bluetooth connectivity as well. And I think it's the more recent of the Bluetooth connections. So sounds like it's a pretty typical set-top box that we're seeing from a lot of TV streaming services and other companies that are launching some form of a TV service. I think this development kind of shows the imminent presence of T-Mobile set to launch their TV service up and coming, we should hear more about this particular hardware, as well as more about the T-Mobile TV launch service coming up here in the next several weeks. So I'm hoping to hear something definitely at some point by the end of December, and maybe they're gearing up for a launch in January, which means the next several weeks will be very telling and we'll get a lot of information. I know I'm excited about T-Mobile joining the TV streaming services. I know this implicates the channel very much, so I'm following it very closely. I know some people out there actually use the Layer 3 TV service. This should be very similar to that, and it might be in connection to it. We just don't know, and T-Mobile's been very hush on this particular segment of their business. T-Mobile is usually pretty loud. They're usually pretty vocal about things, but they haven't been talking much about the TV side. So we're listening, we're watching, our ears and eyes are open, and I'll definitely report to you guys if I hear any news or get any reports on anything from the T-Mobile segment of TV. All right, so any type of channel update or video that I do with the YouTube channel here, or whether it's with Patreon, it almost feels like you can't go too long without an update on the Sprint and T-Mobile merger. So these reports are all kind of as of the end of October 2018, and this pertains to the T-Mobile and Sprint merger. So I got a hold of a Wells Fargo report which pins the T-Mobile and Sprint merger at about a 70% probability of happening, which is up from the initial 60% probability from previous months that we had been reporting, I think dating back to about June or July of 2018. So analysts are frequently checking in on the merger. They're constantly looking at the status. They're checking things out kind of behind closed doors. They speak to certain people. They speak to certain executives, trying to figure out, what is the pulse on the merger and what's going on there. And, things look pretty promising in terms of what the analysts see from Wells Fargo, at least. Most agree that there's going to be some form of concessions. Could be multiple, could be a few. And we are expecting there to be some concessions as well. We're expecting to see some divesting of spectrum. We're expecting to see possibly an issue come up with prepaid. That's become an issue there as well. So, in quarter one of 2019, we could potentially still see a plausibility of the merger happening. And I know that's probably not likely, but this merger has been approved. Well, it's been proposed for several months, and the only thing really slowing it down is the DOJ and the FCC. They just have to make the approval. Now, the DOJ is obviously a barrier in this, and they're investigating it, and that's their job. That's what they're supposed to do. They're the antitrust segment of this deal. But things are moving and they're progressing quite nicely. So, you think about prepaid companies being an issue here, being one of the hang-up points. Competition and rates is another thing that, antitrust regulators are looking for. The international competition thing is there. The 5G network potential is there. But there is quite a bit of opposition to the merger. And I think just as much proponents as it is opposition. And I think something that I've talked about previously was Dish, and how Dish kind of implicates the merger. Excuse me. All right, so Dish. Dish has a really strong stance against the proposed merger. They oppose it extremely high level. We've heard several sound bites and reports from them. They've had formal opposition to it in terms of reports. They have cited several times that they're fearful of price increasing. They're fearful of power concentration within just a couple of companies. They're kind of just putting their feet in the sand and saying, hey, we don't want to see this happening. The general public wouldn't be benefiting from the merger. The 5G deployments thing is all overblown, in terms of getting it out to markets, and it wouldn't be really helping rural America. In fact, they say that it would probably widen the gap, and there's some validity to that stance. But overall, they're also talking about, how it's going to cost a lot of jobs to Americans. So, and T-Mobile has fired shots back as well. They've talked about, making statements on Dish, saying things like, Dish should be stripped of their spectrum due to inactivity and no planned future usage and deployment of their spectrum that they own and hold. So, there's a lot going back and forth between the companies. I think the price hikes are kind of a big holdup in this deal. I think in terms of specifically the prepaid side, the DOJ and the antitrust department, they're looking at that very, very carefully and making sure that it's going to help the general public. Think about it. Sprint, T-Mobile prepaid, thank you. Boost, Metro, all those prepaid companies are involved in this particular merger. You can't just overlook that. So that has to be considered. There's a lot of customers in this. I think I remember the last I checked, the number was somewhere around 30 million prepaid subscribers involved in the merger. So, all these things considered, is a pretty big segment of this merger as it is proposed. So I think concessions are in order. I think the likelihood and the probability of the merger happening are probably still good. I think that 70% is actually a little bit undershot, but there's others that feel it's a little bit higher. I know I do, but there's an Oppenheimer report that states that they believe that the Sprint and T-Mobile merger should be at a 90% likelihood of approval, which is really, really high. Now, I've always been kind of positive about the merger. I've always thought that I think the chances of it happening are very high, and I said about a month or two ago that I thought 90% was realistic as its expectation. So, it's just interesting to see how the percentage kind of varies from report to report, from analyst group to analyst group. But you have some reports have it at like 60 or 70%. Other reports have it at 90%. But those are very high chances and very good likelihoods. So as the merger continues to progress and go through regulations, we're seeing that the confidence level is increasing and people kind of like what they're seeing, and they agree that it's probably going to happen. And of course, I think this 90% report from Oppenheimer, this is following a shareholder approval over at T-Mobile's parent company, Deutsche Telekom. Again, they own 63.5% of T-Mobile USA. So, once they go ahead and make that shareholder approval, the business transaction side is all set to be conducted, then things are looking pretty good for the merger. So that's kind of how I'm seeing it. That's what the reports and the analysts are saying. So I just like to report it and give you guys an update there. Take a sip of my hibiscus. All right, so the last thing I'll leave you guys with are just some deals. This is for Black Friday, Cyber Monday deals. Black Friday is November 23rd. A lot of these deals actually start on November 22nd. So the actual Thanksgiving day, you eat Thanksgiving, watch a little football, and boom, you can go ahead and start shopping, dealing with all the craziness out there. So these are Black Friday and Cyber Monday deals. The first deal is coming from Walmart. There's actually a couple of things here. The first thing, for the iPhone 10, iPhone 8, and iPhone 8 Plus, Walmart is giving away a $400 gift card with the purchase of those three models. So that's iPhone 10, iPhone 8, iPhone 8 Plus. You have to pay the full price for the phone, but it does get you a $400 Walmart gift card. So this is a really good deal if you are a frequent or regular shopper of Walmart. I think it's excellent. That might be something I'm actually going to consider. This is in-store only. Starts November 22nd at 6 p.m. and it is good through November 23rd. You will have to activate with a carrier, which is Verizon, Sprint, or AT&T. I didn't see any limits mentioned, so if you wanted to get multiple devices for your account, you could do that. You can make an appointment for in-store activation starting at 6 p.m. on Thanksgiving Day. Activations begin at 8 p.m., so you can make your appointment and get there and do the activations. Now, in terms of the second deal from Walmart, they are doing the 10S and 10S Max and 10R for a $300 gift card. So if you want one of those newer devices, you can get $300 gift card. If you want one of the older ones, it's $400. So depending on which model you want there, those are good deals from Walmart. Actually, I think those are some of the better ones if you're a frequent shopper at Walmart for that gift card. In terms of Target's deals, for the 10S, 10S Max, which are priced at $999 and $1099 respectively. Target's giving a $250 Target gift card. They're limiting it at 2 phones per customer. This is available from the 23rd to the 25th. In-store only. You'll have to activate through Verizon, Sprint, or AT&T. No Sprint leasing available in this deal. And I think besides the Target deal for the 10S and 10S Max, they're also doing a iPhone 10 8 and 8 Plus deal, they're giving a $150 gift card. And then they're also doing the Google Pixel deal, so Google Pixel 3 and 3 XL, a $200 gift card. And again, all of those limit of 2 phones per customers on those deals. So those are the Target deals. Best Buy is also doing a 10S, 10S Max, and 10R deal, $150 off. So not a gift card, they're actually just giving you the money off. November 22nd at 5 p.m. You have to activate through AT&T, Verizon, and Sprint. They're doing $200 off the iPhone 10. They're doing $150 off the iPhone 7. And I think the last thing, I think this is also Best Buy. They're doing a Pixel 3 and 3 XL $200 off. So that would essentially take the Pixel from the regular Pixel from $799, brings it down to about $599, and takes the 3 XL from $899 and brings it down to $699. So if you're looking for a deal on a phone, whether it's by gift card or money off, there are your options. Those are the ones that I have for now. If anything else creeps up or comes up in the next couple of days or in the next like week or so, I'll definitely post it. I'll kind of throw it in at the end of one of the videos, or I'll do it on one of these podcasts, and you know, you guys can take advantage of it. It's something you want to consider. So in the comment section below, go ahead and let me know what you guys think of these Black Friday deals. If there's something you're going to consider, let me know what you think of the T-Mobile news as well as the Verizon news. Anything that is of interest to you, go ahead and drop me a line in the comment section below. Thank you guys for watching the video. That's it for this one. I wasn't able to do a live stream last week. I'm hoping to do one this week. Might have a collaboration up and coming with another guest that's going to join me here potentially. So I do have something in the works. So be on the lookout for that. I'll make sure to update you guys on all the things that are going on a weekly basis here on the sneedmobiletech YouTube channel. And again, shout out to all the patrons out there. Thank you for being here and supporting me over on Patreon. If you would like to consider supporting and joining us in the Patreon community, I'll put a link down in the description for you to check out. It'll take you directly there to the sneedmobiletech Patreon page, and you guys can give me a look there. So thank you all for watching. Much appreciated. If you'd like to help me out, share the video, like the video, and if you haven't done so already, subscribe to the channel. Ding the bell to be notified whenever I upload new videos. That is it for this one. Thank you again for watching. This is Sneed from Sneed Mobile Tech, and I will see you on the next video. Peace.